Okay, guys, can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Please say yes. Please say yes. Please. I just turned it off. Okay, no, it's fine. I just turned. Okay, can you hear me now? Guys, 10 people have been watching me yap on mute. I'm so sorry. Dude, I am so sorry. I don't even know if you understood what on earth I was saying. I like Oh my goodness. I am so sorry, guys. I wish someone could just be like, like, okay. Well, I'm not going to bore you guys too much, but I don't, I'm so sorry. Okay. So let's just do a quick rundown. Actually, you know what? Guys, I don't know if you guys want to hear me yap all that time again. I don't think I can even I have it in me to yap all that much again. Like, do you guys I mean, I feel like you guys knew what I was saying just from like what I was writing. At least thank God I was writing, so I wasn't just okay. I'll repeat. No, I was. It's because I want the screen to be like what's kind of you know. I'm so sorry. Hey, forgive me, guys. Okay. Oh no. Okay, cool. So, okay. So, okay, guys. So, hi. So, we're going to be doing this live. First of all, before I start, we're going to be doing this live in 2 steps. The first step is going to be here where we're going to go through a lot of biblical text, and then if you guys want to kind of go a bit deeper with the lexicons and with intra-biblical text and deuterocanonical texts and kind of like deeper exegesis, kind of more like for your serious kind of Bible student, if you kind of want to dive a bit deeper into the word, then I'll be doing that on my on the paid membership section. So if you guys want to check that out, but still hang around, you're going to learn a lot in this live stream. So because like I said, I want to make my content worthy of consuming. So if this is worth your time and you want to consider supporting the channel, then do consider becoming a member. Now, with that being said, let's start. Okay, so I argue that the angel of the Lord is not Yahweh. Okay, so why does this issue matter? Okay, number one is pre-existence. Okay, number two, the name Jesus isn't there in the Old Testament. Okay, Jesus doesn't exist in the Old Testament. So the Trinitarian needs to find a way to actually read Jesus into the Bible. And so this is where they get this from. Okay. So interestingly enough, like I said, when we're looking at early church fathers, we see that the closer we get to the apostles, if the Trinitarian position was true, we would expect the Trinitarian position, okay, to be the one that is the most closer to the time of the apostles. But instead, what do we find? We find that when we get closer to the apostles, the Biblical Unitarian position is what is found. Now, Ignatius would be an outlier, and coincidentally, Ignatius's writings are highly tampered with. But when we look in Polycarp and Clement of Rome, they believed exactly the same thing. You cannot find pre-existence in their letters. You cannot find Trinity in their letters. And it's quite funny, to be frank. So that's why we need to kind of collapse. We need to, get rid of this angel of the Lord being Jesus idea, because it just, no. Now, if this collapses, and then this is when I kind of started laughing. Oh my goodness, I must have looked so stupid to you guys, just laughing to myself. But, the claim that basically that Jesus is like some co-eternal hypostasis alongside the Father in the Bible, that claim is, significantly weakened. Okay. So now we want to define our terms. Okay. So we were defining the word malach. Okay. Now, Trinitarians, what they want to do is what I call malach just means messenger. No. Malach means an angel, i.e., a created celestial being or messenger. And I don't understand how, like, they think this helps them if they just kind of say Yahweh is not a messenger. Yahweh is the source of the information. So I don't understand where the Trinitarian got that somehow saying the word messenger somehow waters it down. Your God's a fairy, bro. You have turned your God into a fairy. Like, give me a break. God is the source of information. When we look in Revelation 1:1, God gives revelation to Jesus. This idea that, like, you're just trying to water down the word. That's really what it is. Okay. And so, how do we know when? Okay. So when the word is translated as angel, is understood to be a created celestial being. Examples: Genesis 16, Genesis 22, Exodus 3:2, Judges 6, Judges 13. Okay. I'm not going to bore you with all these texts because we might actually go through some of these texts today. When we see the word be translated as messenger, it's usually referring to human kings, prophets, human. And here I have a few references. Okay. The one that really got my attention, though, is this one. This one really got my attention. Haggai 1-13. Then Haggai, the messenger of the Lord, spoke to the people with the Lord's message. I am with you, declares Yahweh. Which is interesting. Very, 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 very interesting, because this is what I'm going to say on the matter, that the phrase alone, demolishes the assumption that, Malach Yahweh must be divine. Now it has to be proven. So this verse severely undermines the Trinitarian position. Severely. Okay. Another word, shalach. Okay, so let's go and see what this word means. If you're a Unitarian, you must be very familiar with this word. It's essentially the word that we use to mean, it means to send. Let's get a few examples of it. Let's see. Okie dokie. And then okay. So, okay, I got the next one. All right. So just trying to find the ones I was looking for. I'm really sorry. Okay, cool. So the first one would be again. So Genesis 24:7. Okay. It really kind of captures the meaning. It says, he will send his angel before you. Okay. So that clear, you see that clear structure. You've got Yahweh. Let me just pull up Genesis for one moment. So Genesis 24:7. Just pull it up. Okay. Okay. So that's the verse. So this is, I'm reading this in the ESV. It says, the Lord, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from my land of a kindred, who spoke to me and spoke to me. Oh my goodness, I can't read. To your offspring, I will give this land, and he will send his angel. He, one person, not the triune God. He will send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son there. Okay. So you can clearly see that, you got Yahweh, and then he sends the angel. Like, it's plain as day. Okay. So I genuinely, like, I don't, like, how do you not see that? Like, you have one person that's Yahweh, and you have one person that's distinct from Yahweh. Stop twisting the Bible. Okay. Then you have Exodus 3:10 would be another really good verse. Okay. So here Moses is actually the one that's sent. Okay. And actually, if you guys ever get a chance, make sure you guys go check out Exodus chapter 3 and 4. And if you ever have time, cross-reference that to John chapter 5. You will find some gems there. You will see that in the way that Moses is commissioned, you'll be able to find a lot of gems with how Jesus is commissioned. So there's a little nugget for you. I love finding like Old Testament nuggets and like finding out about them in the New Testament. All right, so Exodus 3:10. So it says, come, I will send you. Okay. I will send you to Pharaoh that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Okay. But remember, so hold on. So here's a very, very I just kind of wanted to kind of show you guys a bit of agency here. So God says, come, I send you to Pharaoh that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt, right? Well, So we see that God sent Moses to do this, but then God says, I did it. So we can clearly see that because we can say Moses did it, we could say God did it, doesn't make Moses God. That's more of an agency talk. It's not really an angel of the Lord talk, but we're just here to like get definitions down pat. We're not even like in the meat of the pie yet because I've already lost like 20 minutes of the live. I'm so upset. So, and then, obviously, famously, in Exodus 7:1, later on, see, I have made you God to Pharaoh, right? So being sent can involve speaking as God without being God. Okay. So this is very powerful for our argument that we're about to present. Okay. And so all of this language is right now setting up the stage for what is yet to come. Okay. So 1 Samuel 8:7 would be the last verse that we would want to visit. Okay. So, okay. So it's going to be, okay. The Lord said to Samuel, obey the voice of the people in all that they say to you. For they have, listen to this, for they have not rejected you, but have rejected me. Didn't Jesus say something similar to this? He says, if they reject you, they reject me because no. If they reject me, they reject you because they reject the one who sent me, or something along those lines. Maybe I'm paraphrasing there, but essentially, if you reject Jesus, you reject the Father. If you reject the apostles, you reject Jesus. If you reject Paul, you reject Jesus. If you reject the apostles, you reject Jesus. Yeah. So anyway, kind of tired, I ain't gonna lie. Cool. So exactly. So we can clearly see that from these verses, right? That many things can be sent, right? So so we can clearly see that the verb shalach is used for prophets. It's used for prophets, it's used for angels, it's used for human envoys. Okay. So, the Bible doesn't really discriminate. Okay. So that's that. Now, let us move on to the next word. Okay. So the next word is Shem, which means, name, reputation, etc., 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 etc. So let's just go and find. Let me just quickly pull up my notes. Now we're gonna be we'll be later on like doing a bit more deep dive into this name thing later on. In the next live stream. So if you guys definitely want to be there to see that, make sure you do subscribe because we will be doing a massive, massive deep dive into this. Like no one is ever going to trip you up after that live. All right, let me just put it out quickly. Give me a moment. So, Shem. All right. So the first verse I'd like to appeal to is Deuteronomy 18 verses 18 through 19. So Pardon me 1 second. All right. So, my bad. Sorry, I had to do something on the other side. All right. So, okay. Let me just pull it up. All right, cool. I just pulled it up. All right. So it says, all right. It says, I will raise up for them a prophet like you, okay, among their brothers. And I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. And whoever will not listen to my words, that he shall speak in my name, I myself will requite it of him. So, this is very important. Why? Okay. Because it proves two things. It proves that speaking in, like the phrase, speaking in my name. Oh, I should just put like this. Speaking in my name. That'll be good, yeah. Right? It can't mean it's not equal, right? Let me just like copy a not equal sign. Okay. So can't be equal to being Yahweh. The verse necessitates it. Okay. What it means, um okay, it speaks of speaking with divine authority. That's what it means. Okay. And so this is a direct, delegated representation. Okay. This it's literally this is verbatim says it. And also this verse is very anti-pre-existence because it says that Jesus didn't exist yet. It says I will, because in Acts it applies this to Jesus. How a prophet is God is beyond me, but I digress. So that's I would say that's quite a strong verse. Okay. Now the second one would be 1 Kings 8, the second verse. 1 Kings 8:43. So let me just put it up. So 1 second. 1 Kings 8. 1 Kings 8:43. It says, okay. It says, here in heaven your dwelling place, and do according to all which the foreigner calls to you, in order that all the peoples of the earth may know your name and fear you, and do as your people Israel, that they may know this, that this house that I have built is called by your name. And what does that mean? Good question. I never thought you'd ask. Okay. So, as we can see clearly, okay, name refers to reputation, authority, ooh, covenant identity, etc. All right. Nothing, okay. We see that, just as, lands bear God's name. Okay. We see that, temples bear God's name. All right. Angels bear God's name. Okay. So, to bear his name equals you're created. You're an agent. You're not God. And so this is precisely why Trinitarians, they have a problem with agency. They have to try and erase it out of the Bible, because for them to admit this is for them to completely erase Jesus out of the Old Testament. And so, agency is just going to be like a whole different live stream. I don't want to, but let's just go to one more verse for the name, and then just to kind of get an idea. Actually, no, we can do two more, because I kind of have another one in mind. Yeah, we can do two more. Okay, so we can go to 2 Samuel chapter 6 verse 2. Okay, so 2 Samuel 6:2. Okay, it says, and David arose. Let me just copy it quickly for y'all. Cool. All right. And David arose and went with all the people who were with him from Bala, Judah, to bring up from there the ark of God, which is called by the name of the Lord of hosts, who sits enthroned on the cherubim. Now, okay. So you see here, the ark of God, to bring up there from the ark of God, right? Which is called by the name of the Lord of hosts. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, now you can clearly see the ark is associated with God's name. Is the ark Yahweh in essence? No. Okay, so again, everywhere we look, the name, right, it signifies, covenantal presence. Okay. And his authority. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, Trinitarians have completely butchered the Bible in this regard. Okay, so, I'll give you a homework, guys. Okay, parallel this to Exodus 23. I'm not going to go into detail about this, but just go and parallel what I've just said with this verse to Exodus 23. and you'll completely see how the Trinitarians have misused the Bible. Okay. The last verse I wanted to go to was Exodus 20, verse 7. So, what does it say? Let's look it up. Exodus 20, verse 7. Okay. It says, okay. All right. It's one of the commandments. So, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Do not take the name in vain. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Now, what does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. It means do not misuse his authority. Do not profane his reputation. That's what that means. Okay? So that's what this is. But unfortunately, a lot of Jews, they've misunderstood this and they've taken this to mean, don't say his name. But later on we'll read in the Bible that, God was actually quite sad that, we weren't saying his name. I mean, God put his name in the Bible close to 7,000 times. He wanted us to say his name. So that's clearly not what this meant. Just don't say his name. Just in passing. No, this is what it meant. This is what it truly meant. Okay. Now, we connect all of this to Exodus 23, which is the very famous passage about the angel of the Lord. Okay. I mean, these are just kind of like the Greek terms that mean synonymous things. Okay. We see prophets be called messengers. We see actual angels be called angelos. Okay. Same thing with, apostolo. So I'm not really going to bore you with this, but I'm sure you can just go to a lexicon and kind of look this up. Sorry. So now that we've kind of gotten a base of all of this, goodness me, I've written a lot. Okay. Now that we've kind of gotten a base for all of this, right? We go to the very famous passage in Exodus 23. Okay. So in Exodus 23, let's pull up the ESV. All right, cool. So this is the passage that, they all love to go to. It's like, oh, look, it's God. Guys, the name of God is in the angel, so it means it's God now. Oh my goodness. Guys, you're misled. It's okay. So it says, behold, and I send an angel, remember, it's first person pronouns. Send an angel before you to guard you on your way, to bring you to the place I have prepared. Pay careful attention to him and obey his voice, and do not rebel against him, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. Now, let's dissect this. Okay, I, singular pronoun, send an angel. Okay, well, the angel then is clearly distinct to the I. Before you to guard you on your way and to bring you to the place I have prepared. Pay careful attention to him. What is that? Authority given, and obey his voice. Authority given, and do not rebel against him. authority given, for he will not pardon your transgression. This angel had the authority to forgive sin, but it was given. Notice, send, commissioned. Oh, bad choice of color there. Let's use this maybe. Oh, that's also a really bad choice. Goodness me, I couldn't even pick a better color. Let's do it like that. Oh no, that just looks wrong. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, there we go. That's something good. Okay. So, commissioned, right? Notice authority given. Now, authority given, 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 given. And then it explains why. For, because. All right. It's basically what it's saying. For my name is in him. So this means authority. Oh, crazy. You see how it just marries up? That's what it means. For my name is in him. It don't mean he's Yahweh. You're absolute dodo brains. Oh, Jay. Don't watch the first 20 minutes of this live. My entire audio was like muted. No one could hear me. Okay. So, but you'll like some of these verses that I've been pulling up. What are you talking about? That's exactly what the verse says. I send an angel. We found out what this is. Okay, I went through lexicons with you on this. We found out what it means when God uses his name. We saw verses on that. Okay. We're reading this in context. Okay. Pay careful attention to him. Authority given, authority given, authority given, authority given. Why? For my name is in him. The name is attached to the authority. Okay. Like, for example, when Christians, pray in the name of Jesus, we're praying, in the authority of Christ, because it's only through Christ that we can dare to approach the Father in prayer. That's what name means. The authority is attached to the name. So when Jesus beautifully said, what does that mean? Let's do a Q&A. What does this mean, Christians? Pagans, what does this mean when Jesus said this? What does that mean? It means he's God. You guys are like so deceived. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah, it means that he bears the authority of the Father functionally, of course. So, yeah. So that's kind of that. Anyway. So let's move on to like some passages that we can actually go through. Okay. So, what we're going to do now, right, is we're going to look at some of the hardest text. Okay. And so if you're just joining in now, I highly recommend that you go and watch the first part. But if you're just kind of watching this live and you're here, then I guess just tag along. You'll kind of see it, right? So So let's go to our first passage, okay, of why I say, the angel of the Lord is not Jesus. So Exodus chapter 3 is going to be a very, very, very famous passage. Okay. Exodus chapter 3. Let's see. All right, cool. So okay. So all right. Cool. All right, I'm back. Sorry. Don't hate me. All right. So let's read this. So it says, now Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law Jethro. I think I can actually cite probably Exodus 3:2. Like Exodus 3:1 through 4, I could probably say off by heart just because of the amount of times that Trinitarians have forced me to read Exodus 3. All right. So let's see. So Jethro, the priest of Midian, and he led his flock. Oh no. One second, guys. Okay. So, and he led his flock to the west side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. Now, watch this. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him. All right. So, who appeared to him? The angel of the Lord, right? In a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. Now, what does that represent? This is like a further teaching moment, but that's the power of God being made manifest. That's the Spirit being made manifest. Okay. So that fire imagery is important. Okay. So then it says, he looked, and behold, the bush was burning, yet it was not consumed. And Moses says, I will turn aside to see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. When the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, what's this? God called to him out of the bush, Moses, Moses. And this is where Trinitarians go, who spoke? Did the angel speak? Or did God speak? And then they try to play this cat and mouse game. You're supposed to be like, you'd be like, God spoke through the angel. They'll be like, no, who spoke? So, again, now, let's just keep going. So, let me just, I'll remove the rest for now. Because I think the point is driven home. So what we say is that God is speaking through the angel. Okay. Now I want to take you guys to a passage to kind of drive the point home. And you guys are gonna be quite taken aback by this. Oh, why did you leave? You left the Black app. What happened? So I want to show you guys a passage, right? So in Genesis 24, I want to show you guys a passage. Hold on, let me just put it up. I was just reading. So Genesis 24, I'm going to pull it up. Okie dokie. All right. So Genesis 24, just to prove my point. So here we see that, you guys are going to be quite shocked. We see that Abraham's servant actually speaks as Abraham. Okay. So where is this? So this would be Genesis 24. Okay. So verse 2 through 4. Okay. So it says, and Abraham said to his servant, the oldest of his household, charge of all that he had, he said, put your hand under my thigh so that that I may make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell, but will go to my country and to my kindred, and take a wife for my son Isaac. Okay. So, and then we see, okay, so we can clearly see here, okay, we see this is the, commissioning, so to speak. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is where it happens. Okay. So, sent, right? Authorized, right? And, he's going to act on Abraham's behalf. Okay. Just like angels. So, again, we see the hierarchy. It goes to Abraham, then to the servant. Now, get this. So then we go to verse 12. So let me just delete all of this. So he goes and he chats to him and yada, 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 yada. No problem. Good. All right. So now we have the prayer. So it says, and he said, "O Lord, God of my master Abraham, please grant me success today and show steadfast love to my master Abraham." So remember, this bit's again very important, right? So he acknowledges he's not Abraham. Okay? He acknowledges, he's acting for Abraham. Okay? So I will get to the interesting bit. Now, what's this? So he says, let me just see some comments before I continue. Oh, okay. One sec. All right. So again. So, okay, cool. So when we go to so in verse 34, okay, we get to verse 34. I'm gonna delete all of this. Okay. So he says, I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become great. Okay. He's given him flocks and herds, gold and silver, servants and blah, 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 blah. Sarah is my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and to him he's given all that he has. But here's the interesting part. This is the bit that kind of like got me. Okay. Oh no. Is this bit? Okay. So he narrates Abraham's oath, but notice something important. The servant speaks as if he's representing Abraham's will directly himself. Okay. He speaks in full authority. Yes, here, he says, I am sent, blah, blah, blah. And here we see that, uh, where is it? God sends the angel. But for some reason, it's always one rule for this one and another rule for the other one. That's the bit I don't like. But we're going to go to places actually in the New Testament where angels speak as God. So that's later on. But notice here, so where is it? I just want to get rid of this, right? So here we see that, he speaks in full authority, right? And then, he goes on to negotiate the marriage, right? No one confuses him with Abraham, okay? So you can legally act as the sender. Now, could we say that Abraham, commissioned this marriage to happen? Can we say that? Let's put it like this. I'll ask you guys like this. So, can we say Abraham found Isaac a son? Can we say that? Yeah. Can we say that Abraham's servant found Isaac a son? Yeah. Doesn't make precisely my point. Okay. So that's kind of like one passage I wanted to kind of go to, is really kind of to demystify this passage, right? For my name is in him. We kind of went, and this one as well, right? So when we see that, the angel is, there, and then we see like God says, right? This is what we call agency. Okay, just because we see the angel, because look, if it says the angel of Yahweh and Yahweh is God, the angel cannot be God because it's of Yahweh, then you're saying it's Yahweh of Yahweh, then the word of becomes redundant. If he is the messenger, he cannot then be the one that is commissioning it. He is commissioned by someone to say this. So the angel's words can still be attributed to God without collapsing the agent into God. So again, that's the next thing. So let us see. Now, kind of wanted to touch on this bit. So kind of wanted to go over this bit. So this is another very strong verse. Okay, cool. So another one that I wanted to go through was Zechariah. So Zechariah 1:12. All right. Cool. So when we go and look, we see the following. I'd say let's do like 10 through 14. Okay. All right. So the next one that really fries you guys is this one. All right. It says, so the man who was standing among the myrtle trees answered, "These are they whom the Lord has sent to patrol the earth." And they answered the angel of the Lord who was standing among the myrtle trees and said, "We have patrolled the earth, and behold, the earth remains at rest." Then the angel of the Lord said, "O Yahweh of hosts." The angel of the Lord said, "O Yahweh of hosts, how long will you have no mercy on Jerusalem and the cities of Judah? God doesn't know something against which you, singular pronoun, have been angry these 70 years. So, how long? Crazy. Now, watch this. If you want to argue this is rhetorical, then the response doesn't make sense. It says, "The Lord answered gracious and comforting words to the angel who talked with me." So, if the angel is supposedly Jesus, then who would the Yahweh be? Yeah, that's crazy. So, this would be another verse, okay? So, we can clearly see that the angel is distinguished from Yahweh, okay? Another one would be Judges 13, but I think I went through that in my last live stream. So if you guys just want to go check that out, go check it out in my last live stream. But it makes it so dead obvious. But essentially, you know, this would be the premise, right? So, premise 1. If two figures converse with each other, they are distinguished in the narrative. Okay. Premise 2. The angel of Yahweh converses with Yahweh. Premise 3. The angel explicitly sent by Yahweh. Conclusion. The angel of the Yahweh is distinguished from Yahweh in the Old Testament text. I mean, to any sound and sane person, that is a perfectly valid syllogism. But hey, I'm going to leave you guys with that for now. I think it'll be a bit too late for me now, but I think I will be doing the kind of the deeper breakdown to this with other cross references tomorrow. So definitely, if you would consider subscribing to my channel, that would be awesome. But once again, God bless you guys. Have a good day. Bye.